So tell us about your research that you have done with the Flamboyant Foundation and DC Public Schools.
One of the things that I was always asked when I first came here, because everybody called me their data person, and I'm the data guy, I'm the research guy. So everybody from schools and districts came to me and said, Steve, we really need to see some convincing evidence that this is going to help move the needle on student outcomes, right? My superintendent doesn't want to invest any funds in this or give us any more people until we can show some research. Flamboyant had this great opportunity where we could study their work to engage families with and look at the outcomes for students over time in a quasi-experimental design, quite frankly. And so my work there has looked at over 4,000 students from pre-K to 6th grade. And so we were trying to look at the impact on of this work on student outcomes. So the Family Engagement Project has 3 basic components to it. One, and I would say the centerpiece of it really, because I think it's maybe the biggest lift, is a home visit. So what they want to do is have these conversations with families, not about, well, here's what you need to do, here's what you need to do, here's what you need to do, but tell us what you would like from us as your child's teacher, as the school that's going to be helping educate and develop your young child. What do you expect from us? What do we need to know about your child because you're the expert? And so the home visits are really about changing those relational dynamics. So it's not the teacher as authority talking to a parent, but the teacher or somebody from the school talking with a parent or a family member and going to the family, right? These are not meetings that are held at school. These are held in a place or in an environment where the parents should feel more comfortable. Some parents are very uncomfortable being at the school. And so the whole point of this is to change those dynamics so that we have a more equal partnership, a conversation that lets teachers and parents understand that they're actually allies. So that's a big part, and I'm talking about that a lot because, quite frankly, I think that's the biggest lift for that program. The other 2 components of it is there's ongoing communication with families. So the idea here is that, a home visit's nice, but parents need to know what's going on with their children throughout the school year. They need to know what's going on in the classroom, what's coming up, how their child just did, what they might do. And then the last part of it is the academic parent-teacher team meetings, the APTT workshops. And that's where these are workshops that are really data-driven. So teachers are preparing folders for parents, for family members, that have their children's data, their test scores, in those folders. And they're giving parents concrete information about how their children are performing on the assessments that the school system values. And then the other part of those meetings is that they help give parents some tools and strategies to work with their children at home. Because we know that things like parents reading at home is really important for helping children develop their literacy skills and their early literacy skills.
So now, did your study look at all 3 of those interventions?
We had the best, most comprehensive data on whether or not a student got a home visit. So we actually did 2 things. What we know from a research standpoint, we had 4,000 students, but we had 4,000 students in 15 schools. And so it wasn't just that we were able to say, if you got a home visit, did it matter? But we were able to account statistically, using hierarchical linear modeling, for some of those school effects. So it's very easy in these kinds of studies. There's always a school effect. Like different schools have different cultures and different communities that feed into them. I wanted to really take that into consideration so we could rule out a school effect when it might be the intervention effect or the home visit effect. And so what we found actually here is that the home visits had a tremendous effect in relationship to attendance and reading. I'm a huge convert on the home visit piece now. I think I know I had underestimated what home visits can accomplish, and seeing data from 4,000 plus students in DC, and quite frankly, hearing the teachers and the school leaders talk about what those experiences were like for them and the parents, I really think that home visits are a particularly powerful practice that can really develop some strong relationships between educators.
Yeah, and this home visit protocol, I think, because sometimes lots of different programs use home visits, but I think this one, in the way that it focuses on the relationship,
Yeah,
it seems to be the key piece.
I think the fact that, this is just my hunch, the fact that they did them early on in the school year was really important, because a lot of home visits, if they're done in response as a reaction to something negative, becomes punitive. And it's not about building relationships. It's about, let me go to your house and tell you what we need from you. And these, by being done before school starts or early in the school year, it really is all about that. Let's get to know one another. And let's build a relationship, so that in the event that we need to have a difficult conversation, we're on good footing. But this Flamboyant project, I think, was a really important study, because it had a lot of students. And it had a lot of students from schools that nobody would say are advantaged schools. And this, quite honestly, I think that study showed that program can be effective, that reaching out to families and building relationships with families works.